Hello everyone, Fred here. Thanks for stopping by the Camping Family channel. Doing another little project here. This time we're working on standalone USB ports. I had mentioned in a previous video about putting USB ports in the 120 volt outlets. And in this one we're going to tackle some standalone ports. So what I have here is a typical 12 volt to USB. I've got these in all my vehicles. This is a high-speed charger. It's got the blue jack, so that's USB 3. Also has the 2.4 amp on this side. So these are awesome chargers. I've got them in all my vehicles. Use them in the camper here. But I'd like to add a standalone. I don't want to rely on a 12 volt. So what I have here, I bought off Amazon. Two of these, they're almost RV related. They're RV style, waterproof, 2.1 amp, 5 volt plugs. What I'd like to do is just add one of these here, and then add one of them over for the passenger side for them to use. So then we have 4 USBs up here in the front of the motorhome. Shouldn't be a big deal. This is just it's just a piece of plastic, real thin. I don't even think it's like an eighth of an inch. But what I thought was, I have one of these. These are those core bore drills for a door. You know, like a door. Geez. Oh, your door handles, that type of thing, to put a new door handle or you know, in the core of your door. So I thought I'd bring one of these out. They're not quite big enough. They're just a little bit smaller than the diameter of this socket. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this to get a good hole, and then I'm going to use a file and just file it down enough that I can get this in there. And I've got power here because the previous owners had this car amp right here, so I've got positive and negative right here off the spare battery. So what I'm going to do, I bought this splitter, so I'm going to put the main 12 volt into here, and I've got 4 leads out, so that gives me 4 options for positive output of this. I'll run one to this side, one to the passenger side, and then just run a ground cable back to the ground here, which is this black cable off the power, this amplifier. So shouldn't be too much involved. I've got some they call it low energy cable. This is 12 volt braided. Should work fine for what I'm doing here. I mean, we're not drawing a lot of power to these USB adapters, so I'm just going to run this underneath this panel, tuck it up, call it a day, just so I have power up here. But I thought this was a fun little project I would document. So we'll get started here. I'm going to drill a hole. I want to move this power supply out. I need to get the power off of it. Like that. I can expose all my cables. And we'll go from there. Alright, check back in a little bit. Alright, continuing on with my 12 volt cigarette lighter to USB conversion. I went ahead and decided that I'm going to change out this cigarette lighter here, because I've got one by the driver's side here. If I have a 12 volt need, I can just plug into there. I'd rather just switch this over to the USB plug, so it's permanent USB here. So I decided to just pop it out. Here's the adapter that came from Fleetwood, and here's the connector. Simple 12 volt, even the ones labeled ground on it, so real easy to do. Now on these connectors, the positive is always the center one, the negative or ground's the exterior or the outside connector. So what I did was I just put this up here, traced it with a pencil so I know the diameter. I'm going to take my hole saw here and try to get in there, but without having that bit there that I can drill into, it's going to be really hard to do. I may have to get a file or even a knife, like a sharp pocket knife. This is just plastic, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. It might be just worth just getting my knife instead of even trying to use the hole saw. That's just going to make a mess and maybe even damage, you know, I don't want to damage all this plastic. So that's what I'm going to do next. Let's go find a sharp pocket knife and we'll get that cut out there. Okay, well, the hole's prepped. So I started out with a small pocket knife. Started, just trying to clean it out, and boy, I was taking forever. And I thought, man, I'm going to cut myself because I'm starting to get a little sweaty in here. And what I ended up doing was just putting a drill bit on there. I just started going around with the rigid. And hey, guess what? We have a socket. Huh. Just like that. I think it looks pretty good. Just like that. Alright, so I'm going to connect it up and we'll try it out. There we go, finished product. I forgot this has the little voltage indicator on it too. 12.6 volts. Very nice clean install, guys. If you don't need that extra 12 volt cigarette lighter, just throw one of these in. I think I got it off Amazon. Anyway, I like this. Hey, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe for future videos.